everybody, welcome to Downward Dog Rising. Tonight I'm going to give you Mermaid in yoga as well as Mermaid in Pilates. So I'm going to start off with Pilates version of Mermaid. I'm going to do something that'll activate your neural pathway in your mind to help bypass your hip so that you don't hip hike your hip off the mat when you do your Mermaid. It's going to open up your sideline and it's going to stretch your spine longer. And then the yoga version of Mermaid is really going to stretch your hip flexor, your psoas. All right, so join me. Let's start. For Mermaid in Pilates, parallel knee to ankle, shin is on the mat in front of you. As long as you don't have any knee issues, if you had knee issues, extend your leg out straight and avoid bending your kneecap backwards. That would be bad. So, you have your shin parallel with the mat. You're going to take this leg, fold your knee backwards, and you might notice there's a big gap between this hip, this sits bone, and your mat. And that's okay, because right now we're going to do something neurologically to improve that gap and to show the hip where we want it ideally to stay. Take your hand onto your left hip. We're going to lift and rotate your hip away from the mat and then gently reconnect it. So you're going to rotate up, rotate back down. The hip goes up, the hip goes down. This is going to help your pelvis if you have torsion where half the pelvis rotates, your SI joint's unstable. We're giving your body feedback neurologically and peripherally, just so it can sense its space and have awareness. Okay, so you rotate the hip up, then you bring the hip down. Now I'm going to have you float your arms over your head, and I want you to root down and just try to ground into the bottom of your pelvis. Feel equal weight in each half of your pelvis. Each sits bone weighs down equally. Sometimes we could be totally leaning into one side, so we really need to settle down. And then feel space between ribcage, hip bones, rising up. Keep stretching upward. Okay, we're going to take one arm down. Shoulder, elbow, wrist are in alignment. Collarbone widens away from center of chest. Now as you rise up, sink this sits bone down. So this far hip, as you lengthen upwards through the spine, feel how you can also simultaneously sink down into the mat. Stretch, and then come back up. Elongate, extend out of top of head, come back. Feel ribs and hips separate. Notice how your hip stays behind and you really open the space along that mid-axillary line from the armpit to the hip. 3 more. Stretch up out of your center, come back. 2 more. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one. Next, I'm going to have you do something in Pilates that we call it thread the needle. Yoga, thread the needle is way different, but I want you to go in between the blades, middle back, and you just feel like you're opening, you're lifting your heart to the side, breathing in. Hip points do not move, your hips stay forward, and then you just reach under that arm. We'll do 5 of these. Breathing in, expansion. Now, exhale, reach under that arm. Moving from the spot mid-back between blades. Inhale, 2 more. And last one, breathing in. And breathing out. So we want to open up our sidelines, and then we want to give mobility to the center of our back. Now, lift up knees, side to side, couple windshield wipers. We're going to take that from yoga. Switch sides. Other leg, knee, ankle, shin are parallel. Then you're going to take your quad, front of thigh, knee bends back, If you have knee issues, avoid bending your knee backwards. There was a time I could never do that. It's healed enough. I could bend the knee back now, but I don't stay there for too long. So you could have your legs straight, or you would bend it back. Shin parallel, quad parallel. This is your shin, that's straight, knee, ankle, and your quad is just going straight out to the side of your hip. I have a huge gap between my hip and the mat, my glute. Now I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna take my hand to the front of my hip bone, and then I'm gonna rotate my thigh bone and drop it deeper into the socket. So I'm gonna rotate forward and then rotate back. So we're just using the natural rhythm, bone rhythm of how our bones go into the joints. We're gonna rotate deeper into the socket. Hip goes up, hip goes down. We want it to feel safe. Hip goes up, hip goes down. 2 more. Roll, come back. Last one. Roll forward, come back. Now, once that hip comes down, I want you to feel weight equal through each half of your pelvis. Just settle in to the bottom of your pelvis and try to create some length here between sides of ribs and hip bones. So you're rising up. I'm collecting a lot of energy right now into my toe and my ankle. So that tells me I have to make a little adjustment. It's all involved from ankle, knee, and hip. I have to adjust my knee a little until I feel the ankle free. Okay, the ankle freed a little bit. Lengthening up. Equal weight across each half of pelvis. Now you're going to bring your arm to your side. You want to feel your sternum. This part here lengthens and the both collarbones spread open across chest. And as you lengthen up to top of head, you're grounding, you're rooting down into this half of your pelvis as you stretch out of your center. Open up that whole sideline. Breathing in. Exhale, return. Breathing in. And return. Good. Sides and neck long, shoulders relaxed away from ears. Just balancing out all of our muscle groups. 2 more. Notice how your hips stay put. And last one, breathing in. Now from here, we're going to do a little rotation from the spot right in between our shoulder blades. Middle back, right in between the blades. Rise up, create length before you do your rotation. Notice how that shoulder blade feels moving away from your back. Breathing in and breathing out. Opening, rotate. Your central axis point is your breastbone. Breathing in, open. And exhale, 2 more. Breathing in, open. Exhale, last one. Notice how that hip stays put, the motion's occurring through center part of your spine. Good. All right. Take both legs in front. Again, we'll borrow side to side from yoga, little windshield wiper. Keep shoulders and chest open. Okay, here comes another version of Mermaid. Swing both legs to one side of your body, and you're actually going to have your 2 ankles stacked, one on top of the other. And this hip here, it's not touching the mat. It's up off the mat, okay? That's fine. This is a different style. So we're going to go into our classical. And I want you to think of 2 panes of glass on each side of your rib cage. And you have to be careful that neither side of the glass feels like it's crunching. Create the space and the length. We're going to lift this arm, grab our ankles. Now, I want you to feel like this whole side opens up without scrunching this side together. So we're going to use our ankles as an anchor point And we're gonna lengthen up, really lift to top of head. And we're just gonna gently allow our elbow to softly fall to our rib cage. Gently take our hand to side of head. Keep neck long on each side. And we're just gonna lift up, 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 and stretch over. And just stay here for a moment. Breathing in. Really expand into your ribs on all sides. Feel space between rib cage, hip bone. Breathing in, breathing out. Elongate up, breathing in, breathing out. And one more time, deep inhale, deep exhale. Gently release. Same thing, other side. We're just gonna shift, stack each ankle, one on top of the other. You're gonna notice your hip is up, so we're not gonna force it down. The nature of this is going into our ribs more. So we're gonna reach for the ankles, they're stacked. That's your anchor point. We're gonna rise up, elongate up. Start to feel ribs pulling apart. Start to feel space between bottom of rib cage, hip bones. And we're just gonna gently reach to side of head. Relax both shoulders. Breathing in, breathing out. Open up this whole side. Feel length. Really open up your side body. We're gonna lengthen our spine, open up side body. You're breathing into your ribs three-dimensionally. Breathing in and breathing out. You want to feel those ribs opening apart. Breathing in, breathing out. Feel space open up in there. Breathing in, breathing out. One more deep inhale, open the space between those ribs. And gently come out. Good job. Okay, so now I'm going to have you just come onto all fours, do a little stretch. We're going to just stretch our spine, cat-cow. Deep exhale, round your tailbone, shin down. Inhale, head away from tailbone. Now exhale. Just reach your sits bones behind you. 3. Spread blades wide to ceiling, to sky. 2 more. Lengthen head away from tailbone. And last one, deep inhale, deep exhale. All right, next we're gonna do Mermaid in yoga, Ekpataraj Kapotasana. So from your all four position, you're gonna take your right knee, and I'm gonna have you walk your right knee in between the two hands. And I'm just gonna have you start, rotate your hips forward, and just stay here for a moment. We're just gonna stay here in our swan. Just getting our hip to release a little bit. So we're doing a little pigeon pose, swan. And instead of taking it down to the ground and resting on our elbows, we're gonna do it a little differently. So here comes your mermaid in yoga. I left my yoga strap in the car because I had a client. I'm going to use a belt. So I'm just going to reach over here. I have my belt. And I'm going to loop over the bottom of my foot. And I hope I don't get a big cramp in my hamstring back of thigh. I feel like I might. I'm going to be careful here. I've been cramping up lately. If you take your yoga strap or belt over the back foot, and then my belt isn't as long as a yoga strap, So I'm just going to take one arm. I'm going to keep my hips facing forward. I'm just going to settle into the pose. My hip bones are facing front. And I'm just lengthening up. I'm easing into it. And without rotating my spine, I'm going to keep my shoulders straight in front of me. I'm going to keep my hip bones straight ahead. And I'm going to try to just lift both of my arms, elbows forward, and just lengthen up to top of head and breathe. Ideally, you'd have a longer strap than what mine is, but I'm going to do it with the strap that I have. Breathing in and breathing out. Soften. Soften your eye gaze, soften the eyes, soften your mouth, your jaw. Soften into it. Breathing in and breathing out. One more deep inhale and gently release. Awesome. I have no idea what's playing. Never heard of it. What is this? I'm going to keep it playing. I'll cite who it is. I'm going to turn. We're going to go hands and knees. And then we're going to bend. It might be Venetian Snares. The last one. I'm going to cite who it is. So we're going to take our... You know, I forgot what side I was on. My left leg was behind me. My left leg was behind me. Okay, my right leg needs to go behind me. Sometimes when I switch sides, my whole mind switches off. That's so weird what just happened. Okay, we're going to take our left knee in front, left thumb. You can always take arms close together. Lift and hip bones straight ahead. And we're just going to take the back leg behind you. And I want you to settle into pigeon. Settle into your swan. Instead of taking it low to the ground, we're going to do it staying upright. Breathing in. Breathing out. Getting this whole hip to stretch. Piriformis, glute, lateral rotators of the other side. You're just settling in. So it helps to open up the spine, open up the sidelines while we go deep into your psoas. The psoas is a really deep muscle in the body, runs through pelvic floor, and it actually inserts into your back vertebra. So that's why sometimes your back can get really tight when the origin and insertion of the psoas attach into those vertebrae. Sometimes it can actually get hiked. All right, what I want you to do now, take your strap or your belt. I'm going to try to do this without cramping my thigh. Super tight quad. That's okay. I'm going to bring this over the bottom of my foot. Okay, so this side is super duper tight. I can tell already. I'm going to ease into it. Hips are straight. So my body wants to twist. So I'm going to keep rotating so my hips stay forward. I'm going to aim my shoulders straight ahead of me as I lengthen to top of head. Settling in, just sink into the pelvis, into the bottom. Send the breath and the energy anywhere that's tight. Ease into it and breathe. Just ease into it and breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Now as you ease into it, we're going to deepen. Hips are straight, shoulders are straight. Lengthen to top of head. Send the breath into any tight spaces. Abdominal wall draws into spine. Lengthen up. Keep your alignment. Avoid sacrificing form. If you start to lose your form, go back to the previous stretch that you did. Breathing in, breathing out. Sinking down, rising up the spine to top of head. Let the energy flow. Soften into it. Soften your eyes. Relax your mouth. Relax your jaw, your facial muscles. Avoid gripping. Avoid clenching. And just breathe. One more deep inhale. And gently release. All right. So that got really deep into those hips. From here, after you swing your legs around, we're going to take our knees hip width apart. Careful they don't fall sideways. Lengthen your spine up. Bring hands down. Now we're going to do a little table. I want you to press hips to sky. Engage glutes. Avoid letting knees fall outward. Collarbones wide. Eye gaze straight ahead. Open chest, shoulders. In your table. Breathing in, breathing out. One more deep inhale here. And gently release. All right. Stretch arms to sky. And we're just going to do a little hip hinge forward. Stretch over the legs. Stretch breastbone long. Sink down into the bottom of your pelvis. Lengthen to top of the head. One more deep inhale here. So we're just getting length to the back of those thighs after we stretch the front of the thigh out. Getting the opposite side to lengthen. Breathing in, breathing out. Yeah, one more deep inhale. Gently come back up. All right. So we're just going to cross our ankles. Easy pose. And I want you to get into the sides of your hips before we finish. So you're going to elongate up. And then you're going to stretch forward. And just feel each side of the low back stretch. Your sits bones reach behind you. Keep stretching forward. Keep hip hinging. You can go as far as you want from your hip hinge. One more deep inhale. Slowly make your way up. Okay, whichever ankle's crossed on top, I want you to switch it. Switch. Settle down. Lengthen up. And we're going to stretch forward again so you feel the stretch a little bit on each side of your hip again. Ribs out of hips. Feel how your sits bones reach behind you. One more deep inhale. Gently come up. And now from here, a little stretch to side of neck. Keep stretching arm long. Slowly look under arm. Shifting the emphasis. Feel the side and the back of the neck. Slowly come forward. Feel the side come up. Sternocleidomastoid muscle getting into the neck. We're going to come to the side without force. You're stretching arm long to really offer an anchor there. Lengthen. Relax the jaw, relax your mouth slowly. Look under the arm. Feel different fibers stretch. And gently release back center. All right, we did it. That concludes today's gentle little comparative analysis between Mermaid across Pilates and yoga. We opened up your sidelines, we elongated your spine, we stretched your psoas, and we did a little hamstring stretch. Hands to heart center. Just feel like you're evenly weighted through each half of your pelvis. Usually my left knee is higher than my right, meaning my left hip is slightly hiked. It still is tiny little baby bit now, but a lot of times I could be sitting down and my knees could look like that. So I know it did something for me. Hope it did something for you in a good way. So appreciate you all. Please subscribe or like if you do like my content, and it'll help me grow my channel. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or day. Peace, everyone. Bye. See you soon.